Hi guys, welcome back to Finesse. Today we've put together a killer lineup of the best psychological thrillers, a mix of standout favorites and underrated gems. So whether you're into mind games or slow burn suspense, there's something here for you. These are all perfect picks to watch in August 2025, streaming on Prime Video, Pluto TV, and Tubi. We hope this list points you toward your next gripping watch. Now let's jump right in and get started. Number 12. Beast. Directed by Michael Pierce, Beast is a brooding and psychological thriller that blends moody romance with chilling suspense and quiet, character-driven horror. The film follows Mull, a young woman living on a remote island, trapped in a stifling home under the control of her overbearing family. When she meets the enigmatic and rugged outsider Pascal, she's drawn into a passionate and dangerous relationship. But as a string of unsolved murders haunts the community, suspicion begins to swirl around Pascal, forcing Mull to confront her own darkness and the blurred lines between love and violence. Jessie Buckley delivers a mesmerizing breakout performance as Mull, shifting seamlessly between vulnerability and volatility. Her chemistry with Johnny Flynn, who plays Pascal with magnetic menace and subtle menace, fuels the film's emotional volatility. The cast's intensity anchors the film in a haunting psychological realism. Tautly directed and layered with dread, Beast avoids easy answers in favor of moral ambiguity and inner turmoil. It's a slow-burning, atmospheric thriller where tension simmers beneath the surface, perfect for fans of complex characters and disturbing emotional undercurrents. Number 11. Lavender. Directed by Ed Gasdonnelly, Lavender is a moody and introspective psychological thriller that blends supernatural mystery with emotional trauma and atmospheric dread. The film centers on Jane, a photographer who begins to suffer from memory loss after a car accident. When disturbing visions and fragmented flashbacks begin to surface, she's drawn back to her childhood home, where a long-buried tragedy holds the key to understanding her fractured identity. As Jane confronts the eerie remnants of her past, the line between reality and delusion begins to unravel. Abby Cornish leads the film with a restrained yet emotionally charged performance, capturing the disorientation and vulnerability of a woman haunted by her own mind. She's supported by a subdued but effective cast, including Dermot Mulroney and Justin Long, who lend gravity to a story rooted in silence, suggestion, and suspicion. Visually bleak and thematically focused, Lavender avoids conventional horror beats in favor of slow-burning tension and psychological unease. It's not a thrill-a-minute ride, but rather a quietly unsettling exploration of memory, guilt, and the ghosts we carry. For viewers drawn to atmosphere over action, Lavender offers a subtle and lingering chill. Number 10. Bad Samaritan. Directed by Dean Devlin, Bad Samaritan is a sleek and unsettling psychological thriller that blends moral tension with Hitchcockian suspense and a modern tech-savvy edge. The film centers on Sean Falco, a broke valet who moonlights as a burglar, targeting the homes of wealthy diners. But when a routine break-in leads him to discover a woman held captive in a locked room, Sean becomes entangled in a dangerous game with the home's owner, a sadistic and calculating man determined to destroy him piece by piece. Robert Sheehan brings raw energy to the role of Sean, starting off as a clever but morally gray thief and gradually transforming into a man pushed to his limits. Opposite him, David Tennant is absolutely chilling, cool, calculated, and disturbingly brilliant. The tension between them builds with every scene, turning their conflict into a gripping psychological showdown that keeps you on edge. It's a thriller that keeps tightening the screws, scene by scene, offering a chilling portrait of guilt, obsession, and the consequences of doing the right thing too late. Used to be. Mark Duplass plays Ethan with understated frustration and vulnerability, while Elizabeth Moss is magnetic as Sophie, switching between Number 8. Regression. Directed by Alejandro Amenabar, Regression is a dark and atmospheric psychological thriller that blends investigative drama with paranoid horror, rooted in fear, faith, and false memory. The film centers on Detective Bruce Kenner, who's called in to investigate a disturbing case of abuse involving a teenage girl and her father. But what begins as a routine interrogation spirals into something far more sinister, as whispers of satanic cults and repressed memories pull Bruce into a maze of hysteria, manipulation, and psychological decay. Ethan Hawke delivers a tightly wound performance as Bruce, portraying a man increasingly consumed by the horrors he uncovers, real or imagined. Emma Watson plays Angela with a quiet vulnerability, hinting at deeper layers of trauma and mystery beneath the surface. Their uneasy dynamic fuels the film's creeping sense of dread. It's a thriller that trades spectacle for slow-building paranoia, exploring how fear can distort truth and how belief can become a weapon. With its muted visuals and grim tone, Regression offers a chilling reflection on mass hysteria, memory, and the dangerous power of suggestion. Number 7. Disconnect. Directed by Henry Alex Rubin, Disconnect is a gripping and emotionally charged psychological thriller that weaves together multiple storylines to explore digital isolation, human vulnerability, and the hidden dangers of modern technology. The film centers on a group of strangers, a grieving couple, a bullied teenager, an ambitious journalist, and a lonely ex-Marine, whose lives intersect through the internet in unexpected and devastating ways. As each character navigates their own digital entanglement, the consequences of miscommunication, manipulation, and disconnection begin to spiral out of control. Jason Bateman stands out with a surprisingly restrained and heartfelt performance, playing a father forced to confront the emotional gap between him and his son. He's joined by a strong ensemble cast, including Alexander Skarsgård, Paula Patton, and Andrea Riseborough, all delivering raw and believable turns that ground the film in emotional realism. Tense, thought-provoking, and hauntingly relevant, Disconnect is a powerful reminder that even in a digital world, the most dangerous break is the one between people. Number 6. Derailed. Directed by Mikael Hofstrom, Derailed is a slick and shadowy psychological thriller that mixes infidelity, blackmail, and revenge into a gritty tale of deception and moral collapse. The film centers on Charles Shine, a married ad executive whose life unravels after a chance meeting with a mysterious woman on a commuter train. What begins as a flirtation turns into a dangerous affair and quickly spirals out of control when the two are attacked in a hotel room. Soon, Charles finds himself caught in a brutal blackmail scheme with no clear way out. Clive Owen gives a tightly wound performance as Charles, capturing the quiet panic of a man trapped by his own mistakes and running out of options. Jennifer Aniston surprises in a more serious and shadowy role, gradually peeling back layers that challenge the audience's assumptions. Meanwhile, Vincent Cassel brings an unpredictable menace to the screen, keeping the tension sharp every time he appears. This is a thriller fueled by betrayal, deception, and the ripple effects of a single bad decision. With every twist, Derailed drags its characters deeper into a moral and emotional spiral. It's a dark, gripping ride that shows how quickly life can fall apart, and how far someone might go to cover their tracks. Number 5. Alone. Directed by John Hyams, Alone is a stripped-back and tightly wound survival thriller that fuses raw human fear with psychological tension and minimalist storytelling. The film centers on Jessica, a recently widowed woman who sets off on a solitary road trip to escape her past. But her journey takes a terrifying turn when she encounters a soft-spoken stranger who begins to follow her. As the chase escalates and Jessica is abducted, what unfolds is a harrowing fight for survival across the remote wilderness, one that tests her willpower, intelligence, and strength in the face of quiet, calculated evil. Jules Wilcox delivers a subtle yet powerful performance as Jessica, capturing the fear, desperation, and growing resolve of a woman forced into survival mode. Her transformation feels authentic and earned. Opposite her, Mark Menchaca is chillingly understated, his calm demeanor masking a deeply unsettling presence. With minimal dialogue and maximum tension, their dynamic becomes the beating heart of the film. Alone leans into simplicity, using its stripped-down setting and quiet pacing to build dread organically. It doesn't rely on plot twists or flashy moments. Instead, it thrives on atmosphere, emotion, and the raw instinct to endure. Number 4. The Girl Next Door. Directed by Gregory Wilson, The Girl Next Door is a deeply unsettling psychological thriller rooted in suburban realism and inspired by true events. Set in 1950s suburbia, the story follows a teenage boy whose summer takes a disturbing turn after he befriends a girl living under the care of a domineering and increasingly cruel adult. What begins as an innocent friendship gradually unfolds into something far more chilling, as the boy becomes an uneasy witness to a spiral of emotional and psychological abuse that tests his conscience. Daniel Monch brings quiet intensity to his role, capturing the internal conflict of someone trapped between fear and helplessness. Blythe Offarth is quietly powerful, portraying a young girl with grace and resilience in the face of unspoken torment. Blanche Baker's performance is strikingly cold, embodying a character who exerts control with alarming ease and unsettling calm. This isn't a film that relies on cheap thrills. It builds its horror from emotional decay and the silence of those who look away. The Girl Next Door is a difficult but important watch, holding a mirror to the darker sides of human behavior and forcing us to confront the consequences of inaction. Number 3. Along Came a Spider. Directed by Lee Tamahori, Along Came a Spider is a sleek and calculated psychological thriller that blends detective intrigue with high-stakes suspense and a web of deception. The film centers on Alex Cross, a brilliant forensic psychologist still reeling from a personal tragedy, who's pulled back into action when a senator's daughter is kidnapped from her elite private school. As Cross investigates the abduction alongside Secret Service agent Jesse Flanagan, he finds himself unraveling a plot far more complex and personal than it initially appears. Morgan Freeman brings quiet authority and emotional depth to the role of Alex Cross, portraying a man driven by instinct, intellect, and grief. Monica Potter holds her own as Jesse, adding tension and unpredictability to the dynamic, while Michael Wincott makes for a chilling and cerebral antagonist with layers of mystery behind his actions. Built on psychological tension and clever misdirection, Along Came a Spider draws you into a web of secrets, shifting loyalties, and unexpected twists. Rather than relying on action, the film keeps its focus on mind games and character dynamics, delivering a suspenseful, slow-burn mystery where no one can be fully trusted. Number 2. Breakdown. Directed by Jonathan Mostow, Breakdown is a lean and nerve-wracking thriller that blends road trip suspense with relentless tension and a sharp undercurrent of paranoia. The film centers on Jeff Taylor, a man driving cross-country with his wife when their car breaks down in the desert. A passing trucker offers to help by giving his wife a ride to a nearby diner, but she never arrives. As Jeff searches for her, he uncovers a terrifying conspiracy and is forced into a race against time to unravel the truth and get her back. Kurt Russell delivers a gripping, grounded performance as Jeff, portraying a regular guy pushed far outside his comfort zone. His fear and desperation feel real, and his transformation into a man fighting back is both believable and satisfying. J.T. Walsh is perfectly cast as the seemingly ordinary trucker with something far more sinister beneath the surface, quietly menacing and impossible to predict. Breakdown wastes no time with filler. Every moment builds momentum, turning the wide-open American highways into a claustrophobic nightmare. Fast-paced, intense, and stripped of excess, it's a taut survival thriller that hits hard and never lets up. Number 1. Jacob's Ladder. Directed by Adrian Lyne, Jacob's Ladder is a haunting and cerebral psychological thriller that blends surreal horror with emotional trauma and existential dread. The film centers on Jacob Singer, a Vietnam War veteran plagued by nightmarish visions, memory lapses, and a crumbling sense of reality. As he searches for the truth behind his hallucinations and fragmented past, Jacob finds himself slipping between timelines, questioning his sanity, and uncovering a conspiracy that may be rooted in something far more metaphysical than political. Tim Robbins delivers a powerful and deeply vulnerable performance as Jacob, capturing the anguish of a man caught between the trauma of war and the fear of losing his grip on reality. He's supported by a strong cast, including Elizabeth Pena and Danny Aiello, who add emotional depth and mystery to a story that constantly blurs the line between life, death, and delusion. Jacob's Ladder unfolds like a fever dream, unsettling, symbolic, and deeply personal. It doesn't rely on traditional scares, but rather on atmosphere, psychological disorientation, and emotional weight. It's a deeply affecting film that lingers long after it ends, confronting themes of grief, guilt, and the terrifying unknown between this life and the next.